What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto runs away because his village treats him wrong? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. It was a cold, wet and windy day in Konoha. The sky was damp and dismal looking as the rain fell from the heavens down to what seemed like a wet and dull wasteland of emptiness that he called home. The wind furiously batted at the signs, lampposts and other non-pinned down objects. Naruto had just come back from the mission himself. Choji, Kiba, Akamaru, Rock Lee, Neji and Shikamaru had gone to go retrieve Sasuke. Naruto was angered as he thought about how normal and casual Sasuke had reacted to being brought back. Sasuke showed no gratefulness, no gratitude or even just a plain nice comment. All he got was, "Hey Baka," and the others, "Yeah you other misfits, your names escape from me. Who are all of you anyway? I mean I remember you from the academy, but for the life of me I don't even know why I'm asking. I mean I don't care." This angered Naruto but he let it slide because Tsunade had said that Sasuke was going through a tough time, and that the Anbu had made him forget the incidents of Itachi making him look weak and the memory that Naruto beat him on the hospital rooftop. All he knew is that pressure had made him leave and that it was just hormones. Naruto laughed at that because he even believed it. Who's the Baka now Baka? He thought to himself and chuckled inwardly. As Naruto was heading back to his apartment he noticed a lot of people had suddenly started to appear out of nowhere. They looked at him, eyes full of hate and fear, but mostly hate. Naruto suddenly felt less comfortable being watched by all these people and wondered if he had done anything wrong. As Naruto turned a corner one very muscular bold man approached him. "Turn around you filthy bastard fox or I'll cut you up right where you stand." Naruto knew he could take him on easily but he thought to himself, even though I can beat him I would only make things worse by fighting, it would only fuel the village's hate for me. As soon as Naruto had backed off, the villages for just plain hate and disgust started to throw bits of fruit and vegetables at him, shouting, "Get out of this district monster," and other rants about him being a defilement of God. Naruto felt very angered and upset by their actions but he decided to jump over a couple of rooftops to escape the randomly thrown foods and drinks that people felt they had to throw at him. Naruto tried to let the anger go and quickly told himself, "They will see things my way one day. That is what I believe." As Naruto finally arrived at his apartment he noticed there was graffiti on his windows and walls and that his house had been broken into. He rushed to the broken down door and entered with a very pissed off look. He looked around the room, he found his bed slashed up and the materials inside chucked around his room. He found all his food in the toilet and someone had clearly taken a dump after pouring all the food down the toilet. Naruto had a look of absolute insanity and rage on his face that told anyone who saw it to either run in fear or try to die in a dignified position. As he turned to the bath he saw there were bloody pieces of fish and meat all over it. He turned around and took a survey of the rest of his house and found out there was lots more graffiti and rotten eggs thrown around his room. Naruto was fuming with rage but quickly calmed down as he made mass shadow clones to help wash off the graffiti on the wall as well as disposing of the rotten meat, and of course he had to manhandle the little brown fish in the toilet. He thankfully thanked whatever god was out there that it wasn't that smelly or that it wasn't diarrhea. After he was finished his house was tidy and the awful smells went, so he took pride in his hard work. Then he realized he would need more food and he would need a new mattress, covers, a quilt and pillows etc. So he set off from his house and went to the nearest furniture store that he knew about. He entered and he noted Sakura and Ino were there looking for a new bed for Sakura and a new chair for Ino. He approached them slowly while he shouted his usual speech of yelling out their names, waving and making himself known. Sakura paused and glared at him. Naruto stood where he was as he knew that if he took another step or two she would charge forward and he would have to pay for any breakings or damages. Ino moved her arms in a swishing way as if to say, "Go now before it's too late." Sakura carried on glaring at him as she took in a deep breath and it begun. "Naruto, I am looking for new furniture and would not like to be disturbed by a useless loser that won't leave me alone for 10 minutes. Sakura exclaimed as she stared daggers at Naruto. Ino was still swishing her arms but even harder and vigorously now. Ino whispered loud enough for Naruto and Sakura to hear but no one else, "She's on her period run now." Sakura swung round and glared at Ino. What was that, Ino pig? Ino looked scared and nervously took her hands up defensively. Nothing. Nothing at all. Sakura stared back at Naruto. At this point Naruto was trying not to look hurt, so he just forced a nervous laugh. I'm not following you, I came here to buy a new mattress and some quilts, covers and pillows because so. Naruto couldn't finish his sentence before Sakura shouted at him a little bit more angrily. She had no idea why. But we do? Naruto, you are a failure, stop trying to act all kind around me, I don't like you that way, I know it may hurt but deal with it. Ino's mouth flew open as she stared, not half believing what her best friend had just said. She knew she didn't think that way about Naruto. She had defended him on many occasions when people had called him a failure. And that he and she were like brother and sister. Naruto looked hurt at her words but found enough courage to look her in the eyes and try not to start crying. Sakura, I'm not in love with you. I got over that a while ago. I see you as a sister and I was just trying to say a friendly hello before I went on my way. Sakura, who was still in a bad mood, just looked at him, anger still in her eyes. Baka, finally. I mean, seriously, who would want you? And if you have nothing more to say to me, then go. Uzumaki trash? Naruto couldn't hold it in anymore as tears ran down his face. He just turned away and began to walk out of the shop. Ino looked worried and gobsmacked that Sakura could just have a go at him like that. Sakura looked up and saw him crying and walking out of the shop. Naruto-kun? I didn't mean it, wait. But it was too late. Naruto had ran out of the room, tears streaming in his eyes. He jumped over several houses as fast as he could and tried to lose their sights and make it so they couldn't follow. Sakura ran out the room as tears started to form around her eyes as she pleaded him to come back, as she shouted his name over and over, saying she was sorry and that she meant none of it. Naruto couldn't hear it through his own sobs had made it so he couldn't hear anything but himself. He settled next to a tree and calmed down. Wake up, you damned fox, I want to talk to you. Huh? What? Oh hey young pup, what is it you want to discuss? It's just that. They're right, I am weak, I am a loser and I can't fight to keep my friends. If it weren't for Lee, Neji, Kiba and the rest, Sasuke would have been in that bastard snake's hands by now and I would be dead and used as a rag doll for his mutant experiments. Well, it would seem that you wouldn't be strong enough to take down all 5 elite Jonin and then bring Sasuke back, but that is really a bit much, don't ya think? I have to become the greatest, strongest ninja alive so that I can protect my village. If I can't keep one friend on my own, then how can I save and protect a whole village as a Hokage? Naruto said as he raised an eyebrow at the fox, expecting no retaliation. Good point, young pup. It seems you care dearly about your village and its residents. Well, some anyway. I will change their point of view on me and I will help them see the new light that I am, Naruto said, determined and ready for anything. Well, young pup, there are things I can teach you. Let's see, you're 12 now. I guess if you want me to, I can take you on a journey around the world for 4 years to look for the most experienced trainers I know, and I can train you myself. When you become strong enough and have enough chakra, then I will teach you some parts of the demon sage. As you know or don't know, there are 6 realms equaling to 6 sages. In this realm you have your toad sages, in hell you have demon sages, in heaven you have angel sages, in oblivion you have golem sages, in Versertines you have pelican sages, and last but not least you have Kolchin, which has pyro sages. Naruto looked dumbfounded by all of this. So in my lifetime I can only learn 2 of these 6 sages, you are saying? The hell and earth sage types? Earth meaning planet Earth. Well, there are ways for me to teleport you to different realms, but we need to train you first, so in the meantime, yes, there are only 2 sage types you can learn at this moment. Although you need to at least triple your chakra until you can start demon training, but it seems that in about a couple of weeks of immense training you can get started on Toad Sage. Sweet. So shall we leave? I want to come back, but not until I am strong enough. Naruto said with a sad smile as he stood up. Yes, let's set off on our road ahead, young pup. Hold on, I have one more thing I have to do before I leave this village. Naruto said in an even sadder tone with an even sadder smile. What's that, pup? I have to leave a note for all my friends to tell them I'm not mad at anyone and that I am leaving to become stronger so I may protect my village and someday become Hokage. Naruto said in a serious tone as he punched the air with his fist. Determination and confidence spread across his face. At a boy, young pup, of course remember to pack lightly. Try not to bring too many memories. It will not only slow us down physically but mentally too. Yeah sure, I'm just going to take my team's picture, Naruto said with another sad smile. Although it was a little happier. Don't you want to say goodbye to her? It would seem wise, young pup. How did you know? Naruto said as he paled slightly. I am a part of you, I know all your thoughts, actions and implications. Come on, how could a member of the greatest clan in Konoha even look at me? I am just Uzumaki filth, and that is one of the reasons I am going on this trip. Not just to protect the village, but to protect her. Hyuga Hinata, Naruto said as he smiled happily. Although behind the happy smile was a serious face that meant business. Young pup, it would be a mistake if you thought that. Trust me, I can tell she wants you and she wants you bad, more than you know, little pup. What? How can you think that? Hinata has never even looked at me that way before. Do not soil her name, damn fox. Naruto inwardly shouted, angry that the fox could make Hinata seem like a demon lover. Whatever, I'm sorry, now let's get out of here before that annoying pink-haired girl and that scrumptious blonde dozy get here. Hey, yeah we shoal, hey what? Damn perverted fox I oughta. We really don't have time, I can sense there are 3 people coming this way. 2 genins and a chunin, The pink and the blonde genin and the lazy chunin, doesn't seem too hard, young pup. But the lazy one can stop you in your tracks, the blonde one can take over your mind and the pink one would clobber you unconscious. So I guess they're trouble after all, Crap, I got to run. Naruto said as he stuck the note on his door and ran without stopping towards the northeast wall and quickly pounced over it like it was nothing. Stupid boy, there were chunin lookouts. Damn shit, here 3 of them come. They're about 18 to 23-year-olds and they seem to know basic jutsus, but their leader could be trouble, watch out young pup. Naruto ran as fast as he could but made around 30 shadow clones and made them run off in separate locations. Stupid bastards, seriously. They're still chasing me when they could be calling for backup. Ha bakas, ha. I know, I guess I overlooked their appearances, these guys are stupid. They've split up chasing 3 clones. Ha. Hey fox, I can feel your chakra inside of me, what's going on? Naruto said, a little afraid that he might lose the ability to think rationally. I'm giving you my chakra so you can outrun these assholes before they call for tracking squads. Make about 200 clones and have them run in random directions in a straight line. Yeah, I get it, so then when the tracking teams show up they will have to follow all 200 leads to find where I am, and by then the tracks would have faded and gone. Naruto said happily and excitedly. That's the plan, young pup. Keep running, I can feel the trackers showing up. This may be a problem. They have that Shino that can get insects to scout and randomly attack one of your clones until they find the one that doesn't vanish into smoke, and then he will have a permanent location on us. And second, we have Kiba who can sniff us out even if we aren't caught by the bugs. And then to top it all off we got Neji who uses Byakugan so he can tell which one is the real Naruto. Lucky for us we aren't in his Byakugan range yet. Oh well, that's just dandy. Naruto was leaping though the deep forest now as tall trees whizzed past him as he sped through the forest like it was a walk in the park for him. Keep going this way, you're losing them completely. Make about another 200 clones just to be sure, and then take a right at 30 degrees so that we don't look like we're running in a straight line. No problem. Naruto used the following hand seals and shouted out, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 200 Naruto clones appeared and ran into the forest in random straight-line directions to fool their pursuers. Oh, Sakura, Ino and Shikamaru had found the note Naruto had left not so long ago and had already joined the pursuit without orders from the Hokage or any of the Jonin or elite Jonin. Sakura had tears streaming freely down her face and a look as if she was going to fall to her knees and begin to howl with sadness, but she had bigger worries now than to cry for her brother's sadness and confusion, as she had to be strong for him, otherwise she wouldn't get to see him again, and that worried her more. Sakura, are you okay? You need to slow down or the pursuit won't last very long. Shikamaru said with a concerned face, which was very rare. I can't stop. He has so much chakra and energy, the best we can do is not stop running 100% until we catch up to him. Sakura said as she started to cry a bit more now as fresh full-force tears began to pour down her already damp face. Ino just looked depressed, concerned and sad all at the same time as she thought about what else could have made Naruto want to leave so badly. I'm sure he will be fine, Sakura-chan, we just need to keep running and working hard and thinking about him, and that will make him return to us. Ino said as she comforted her best friend. I know he said he would return, but I will make him stronger myself. I will do everything within my power to help him and make him stronger," Sakura said in a sad voice that lacked confidence, but you could tell when Sakura was confident when you saw her eyes. Eyes full of determination and life. Shikamaru was back to his normal lazy lay about self. He took confidence and comfort in Sakura's words. "Yeah, I mean, come on, this is Naruto we're talking about, he will come back to us." Sakura was still crying, but she wiped her eyes anyway with a look of confidence and meaning on her face, looked up to the oncoming figures that were Neji, Kiba and Shino. "Hey, you three, pick up the pace. Are you even trying to get Naruto back?" Ino shouted angrily at the three. All three half looked round to look at Sakura, Ino and Shikamaru. "Hey you three, we are starting to run out of chakra. We've used too much already on sending out insects. Using scent tracking and using Byakugan, there's no way we can go on like this," Kiba said as he slumped slightly. Just then a muscular figure appeared 500 feet away from them and halted them to stop. When they reached him, they recognized him for Naruto's pervy sage. Yeah, that's right, Jiraiya sensei. They all stopped on the same branch as him and walked closer to him to hear what he had to say. "Stop chasing Naruto, he needs to do this. Yes, it may endanger his life, but come on, this is Naruto we are talking about. Tsunade has agreed that we let him do this. Naruto in my eyes is strong enough to handle all that he needs to do before he can return. You should all take notice of Naruto's newfound charisma and be happy that he has to work harder so he can become Hokage and protect all of you someday," Jiraiya said, making all of the six smile weakly. There were lots of looks of sorrow, anxiety and anger from the bunch. When suddenly Sakura burst out, "What if he gets hurt, huh? What if he dies? Could you live with yourself? And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to stop looking for him until I find him. Then I'm gonna break his legs so he can't run, and then I'm gonna keep him locked in a bedroom strapped to a bed for the rest of his life," Sakura shouted angrily. She wasn't angry with Naruto, Jiraiya or anyone, other than herself. She felt angered that she had said those words to Naruto when he needed a friend. Jiraiya shook his head. "Sakura, I know you see Naruto as flesh and blood, but this is something that will help fulfill his destiny and well, I can't say any further." They all looked confused for a moment. "What destiny?" Neji finally spoke up. "Well, I can't go into great deal about it now, but when the day comes I will speak about it," Jiraiya said in a cold tone and a serious face. They all turned round sadly and shamefully. They started to head back home until Sakura and Jiraiya were left. "Please, come back soon Naruto-kun, and please, come back safe and well." With that they departed while the sun started to rise in the direction they were heading. Naruto woke up next to a campfire he had made last night. While the fire had died out, the ashes still gave off a little heat. "Wake up, young pup. It is time to begin training. I can sense that all your friends and fellow ninja have lost your tracks. First off, there is a small town up ahead where you can rent out a house. It seems you don't have enough, but there are jobs you can do there and get paid handsomely. It is quite a large festival town and will hold many a job opportunity for you. After you get your feet on the ground, I will show you the first demon sage move. And the only one until you finish toad sage training. Alright, sweet. Okay, I'm going to pack up now and I'll get on my way." That would be best. Also, you might want to stock up on some water from the river that is to your left about 500 yards from here. You never know when you're going to need some reserves of water. Okay, I'll go and get some now. So what's up with the 6 realms and 6 sages? Well, young pup, there are 6 elements in this universe. Earth, water, fire, wind, dark and light. Your world has water as the toad sages, mainly because this world is mostly covered in water and relies on it to live. While as in hell we rely on darkness to allow us to breathe. You see, our anatomy is different to yours, so you wouldn't understand. And as you've guessed it, hell has darkness as its element. Dark and light are the 2 strongest elements of the 6, and only one human learned our jutsus and fighting styles. His name has been lost, but his title was the Sage of the 6 Feet. So there was a man that had mastered all 6 sage types? You guessed correct. Except for the fact he couldn't master darkness and light. Let me explain. He was the first human to ever learn jutsus. It was believed he knew every jutsu ever created, besides new and improved versions. I can remember the man very clearly, mainly because I was his teacher for the darkness element. So you are the top dog when it comes to darkness training? Yes I am. You see, down in hell I am, was the ruler of everything. I won't tell you how I was tricked into coming back to Earth and then, well, I've said too much. Let us bring this conversation to an end. Hey wait, I want to ask one more thing. What are the other elements to the other sages? Well, if you can guess by the names, but if you can't, here is a full description. Toad Sage's element is water, Demon Sage's element is darkness, Angel Sage's element is light, Pelican Sage's element is wind, Pyro Sage's element is fire, and of course Golem Sage's element is earth. Well, I guess that all makes sense. Okay, I'm going to go get me some water. And then we will set off to this town you speak of. Yes, young pup, very wise. I'll talk you through the jobs best fit for a ninja while you're there. Oh. Hinata walked through the streets with a smile on her face. She had just returned from a month's training session alone with her sensei. As she turned the corner to go to her usual training grounds to check that all her friends were okay, she saw everyone that she grew up with in the academy looking down to the soil. Some looked devastated, others looked angered, and even a few had tears in their eyes. What's going on, guys? Something happened? Hinata spoke, not wanting to know the dreadful answer. She could tell it was bad because even Shino looked sad and even Shikamaru had an angered face. Sakura flung around and grabbed hold of Hinata, brawling into her shoulder. Hinata had a concerned face now, still not wanting to know the answer when suddenly fear gripped her as far as fear could grip. Where's Naruto? Hinata shouted, half in fear, half in concern. He's. Sakura started but couldn't finish. Hinata with a look of absolute horror, not wanting to hear the words that were going to come out of her mouth. As Hinata waited in anticipation, tears started to leak from Hinata's eyes too. He's left the hidden leaf, she shouted out as she fell to her knees in complete and utter sorrow. Hinata had a look of horror and disbelief printed across her face. Why did he go? Where is he going? How'd he? She couldn't finish as she too fell to her knees and began brawling against Sakura's shoulder as the two kneeled side by side, crying into one another's shoulders. Even Sasuke looked sad. I think it was all the pressure he's been having. I mean, no one's been pretty nice to him lately, especially not me. Sasuke hit the tree next to him in anger and started to shake, a little angered with himself. Just then Kakashi showed up with a look of sorrow on his face that was pretty rare for Kakashi. We found out why he left. We have eyewitnesses from other ninja and shinobi saying that the villagers attacked him and started to call him a monster and to threaten to kill him. All of the Konoha 11 now, because Naruto's gone, suddenly gasped at this as fresh new tears ran down most of the girls' faces. As some of the boys grimaced at this, Sakura, being the only one that knew about the Kyuubi, was stricken the most about this because she knew why they did it. Hinata felt anger like never before. No, she felt hate towards her village for the first time. Her tears turned to tears of hate and violence, and suddenly she exploded. Why? Why did they do it? What the hell happened to make them hate him this much? New tears fell from her as she clutched her hands together as tight as she could, which made her palms bleed from her nails digging into her skin. Kakashi finally spoke up. It isn't for me to say, it is up to Naruto to tell you, and if you do already know, then keep it to yourself for now. We all need to be strong about this. It says in the note he left for us that he will return, Kakashi said as he tried to look assured. Hinata's hopes beamed up a lot from that. So he will return? Kakashi looked at her with a bit more hope on his face, trying to be strong for everyone. Yes, he will return, I know it. Naruto won't just leave us. It says in his note that he will return in 4 years. Hinata stopped crying but still held Sakura as they both wiped their tears. Then I will become stronger too. I will prove myself to Naruto-kun. I swear it on my eventual grave that I will become strong so I may protect him. Everyone stopped and looked at Hinata and took confidence and charisma from her words. Hi. They all said with confidence written across their faces. Kakashi could only grin and agree to their actions. And I will become strong so that when he comes back he won't kick the crap out of me. The entire group laughed, feeling a lot happier. But still felt a great loss losing their comrade like that. Even if it wasn't permanently, it still hurt knowing their cheerful blonde ninja was now out in the cold dark wilderness fending for himself. Meanwhile, Naruto had made it to the town. The town was very festively, just like the fox had said. The streets were full of noise and the air's scent was sweet, just like the candy and chocolates they sold. Naruto knew he would like it here when he saw an all-you-can-eat ramen restaurant and a ninja's discount sign next to the stall. Alright, this place kicks ass. Naruto exclaimed very loudly, awaking the fox with a grumble. Grr, huh, what? Oh, we're here. Noisy brat, you woke me up. Anyway, you see that man over there? Nothing unusual about him at all. Yes, that guy. He is a plumber and he's looking for people to help him with, well, appliances breaking down, and, toilet cloggings. You what? Damned fox, you tricked me. Naruto shouted inwardly. No, I didn't, brat. I said to get a job. Not every job is a clean, easy and fun job. In fact, there are very few. Anyway, with your shadow clone jutsu and my chakra, we could make thousands of clones and go on separate callouts. With my knowledge of plumbing, you won't need to know what to do. I'll do it all for you. Remember, you get paid for every job. It's like $25 for a callout and $20 an hour. So at least try to take half an hour. I don't know the equaling currency of Japanese coins and my page C is set in American, so I can't find the pound sign, so I'm using dollars in this fan FIC. Okay, I guess it isn't so bad cause I can make my clones do all of the work. Haha, you had me worried I had to pick up some old geezer's turd up or something. Haha, well, enough of this, you need to make a mint before the day is over. Okay, I'll get to work. Naruto began to walk over to the man in front of him. The man in front of him had a plumber's uniform and noticeable scruffy murky hands. A weird ring was on his left index finger. And his hair looked greasy and unkempt. The man quickly hid his ring by placing his hands in his pocket. Hi, my name's Naruto Uzumaki. I'm here to apply to become a plumber. Before you interject, I'd like to say that I'm a ninja and that I can go on many callouts simultaneously. Also, I have great energy and I have a great knowledge of plumbing. Naruto said smugly as he grinned and stood there, hands on his hips. The man in front of him with an unusual stupid look on him and a pleased look, but all that could be made from his words was grumbles and hicks. I'm sorry, what was that? I couldn't quite catch it. Naruto spoke as if dumbfounded that this moron was his boss. YAAA. You, got the job, little boy. Take these. Cloths, cloths, ger, and then listen for da phone to ring and then answer it and listen, then do as they ask, then YAAA get money. Fucking inbred? Ha ha ha, kick him, rob his ass then run. We're here to keep a low profile, you stupid fox. If I kick his ass then run, I'm gonna get arrested and brought back to Konoha, plus this way I'll probably get more money anyway. Naruto shouted inwardly. Well, NDURRR. When you complete a job, come back to me and split it 50-50 for the tools I'll give you to do the jobs. MMMMMKAY. The inbred man said before a single drop of saliva left his mouth and ran down his face. Okay, yay, sure, but what's your name? I mean, you are my boss, right? What's your name? Ma name's Billy Bob HMMMDURRRRR. And yay, I run dis joint. Pleased ta meet ya. The demon fox started to play imaginative hillbilly music in Naruto's mind. And that made Naruto and the fox chuckle. Hi Billy Bob. Nice to meet you too. Oh yeah. I need to show you around this workplace. Follow me if ya please. Billy Bob walked through his workplace and pointed to a rundown desk with mold on the edges, which made Naruto grimace. That be ma workplace with all ma working papers on da desk. Fascinating, Naruto sarcastically thought. Naruto looked around the room with utter disgust, but he tried to hide it. The walls were run down and bits of mold and God knows what else was covering the walls. Billy Bob, where's my workplace where you know I can work? Naruto said, kinda not wanting to know just yet. Oh yeah, it's just over here, Billy Bob said as he led Naruto to a desk rather similar to Billy Bob's workstation. This is yours. And seeming you said you could do jobs simultaneously, you can use these other 4 desks where my previous employees used to work. Why, what happened to them? Naruto said, not really caring but trying to get into this hillbilly's good books. Well, they all gone up and went telling me that I was incompetent. All I did was give one of them a headless chicken as a birthday present. To symbolize that he was a good man, Billy Bob said with a look of far more stupidity than normal. How does that symbolize he was a good man? Naruto said, bewildered. I don't know, I just like chopping chickens' heads off, YHAWWW. He said as he started to do a little dance. Fucking crazy bastard. Naruto couldn't help but laugh out loud at this statement whilst watching the crazed man. Just then the phone started to ring. I'll get it, Naruto said while he hurried to the phone as the crazed man now got out a banjo and started to play some crazy song about a tractor. Oh. A week had gone by and Naruto had finally got enough money to rent out a decent apartment and still have time to send his clones out to work while he trained. So come on Fox, I'm in a secluded area where no one can disturb or watch me, come on. Naruto raged as his infamous impatience showed. Okay young pup, I'm about to show you a move that is the most primary form of its sage training and that it is known as enhancement jutsu. Allow me to explain. You see, your body can only emit 5% of its total strength and speed. There are ways to allow them to use 100%, but they all come at a great damage to you humans. But this is sage training and not meant for humans. So this jutsu has no harm on the user, but there are stages of training that are very long and tiring. So when I teach you, you will only be able to boost your strength and speed up to 10%. Eventually, from chakra control and continuous usage, its maximum limit is 80%. And when you hit that point, it will not damage your body or mind. That is so cool. So how is it done? Come on, tell me. So by what you're saying is that when I learn this jutsu I will instantly double my speed and strength because I'm using 5% now, and then as soon as I activate this I will be at 10%? That is correct young pup. Now first of all I need to put you through immense training while you use my chakra. The only way to train in the arts of darkness is if you use your master's chakra to make it like your own. But don't worry, the appearance of your chakra won't change. It will be the same but a lot stronger because it has mixed with an element. So cool. Okay, let's get started. Oh wait, how long will this take? About 1 week of training will allow the darkness element to sink into your chakra. After that it will allow the enhancement jutsu to be learned. At that point all I have to do is transfer that knowledge to you. Cool. Let's get going Fox, what do I need to do? Feel my chakra? Okay, then make 1,000 clones. And then make 500 of them run around the outskirts of this town 100 times, and make 200 do sit-ups 500 times, and make 300 do pull-ups 500 times. Get going, we've only got 8 hours. Yes sir. Naruto exclaimed and did what his teacher had told him to do. Oh. Naruto had finished what his teacher had told him to do and he collapsed. Can't move? My chakra is still strong but my energy is dead, hehe. Well, he has done quite a lot today. I really didn't expect him to do it. I just gave him a target that I thought was big enough to make him collapse halfway through and then I'd yell at him to encourage him to do it tomorrow. The fox thought to himself. Well young pup, you have deserved the rest. Teacher, why did I have to make clones? Well, because they make another clone of yourself. All your skills, knowledge and characteristics go into the clone. So if you make one more clone do the exact same amount of training, well, you double your experience you pick up, as well as its tiredness. So 1,000 clones doing 8 hours of training, you do the math, and if you can't it's equal to you alone doing 8,000 hours of training. That's 333 days training in 8 hours. You've almost done an entire year's training in a day. You won't feel it now, but tomorrow, you're gonna feel like a god compared to today. Ha ha ha, that is so cool. Naruto passed out at this moment and lied there in the middle of the forest. Hee. I'd best go to sleep too, another big day for me tomorrow too, hee. The fox curled up in Naruto's mind, let out one big yawn, then fell asleep. Naruto, still unconscious, did the same as they both drifted off happily with the results of training. Naruto awoke in a blur of confusion of why he was here and what he did last night. I didn't get wasted last night, did I, Fox? Ha ha ha, I wish, young pup. You went through an immense TRA. The fox was cut off by Naruto's outburst. Whoa, I feel really strong. And fast too. Hey, I remember now, I went through all of that training yesterday to learn that enhancement jutsu, huh? Yes, that's what happened. Anyway, young pup, you still have training to do. I can see you're all refreshed and a little bit stronger than yesterday. So set your clones out to the plumbers to work and get to training yourself. Yes sir, Naruto exclaimed as he produced the following hand signs and shouted out, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 5 Narutos appeared and ran towards the village at a fast speed that made Naruto take pride in his clones and his day of work yesterday. What are you waiting for, boy? Make some more clones and make them do the same as yesterday. Oh wait, one more thing before you do that, go to town with the money you have and buy some leg weights. They will help in training immensely. Naruto sighed. Ughhh, leg weights. Why'd I have to use them? Naruto pouted. Because can you remember that Rock Lee boy? He is as fast as he is because of those leg weights. Now to become strong, weights are your key. Well, at first anyway. Speed and strength are only a few of characteristics that you will need for your upcoming greatness that I will mold from you. Hee 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 hee. Well, let's get going, Fox. I haven't got all day to become a brick wall to my opponents. Hee hee hee. Damn right. Naruto ran towards the village, also with a look of confidence and courage to succeed in his training. Oh. Hinata woke up in her bed. She didn't get much sleep last night because she had been worrying about Naruto so much. As she thought about him, she blurted out shocked sobs which were heard outside by her cousin Neji. Neji ran towards the door and burst it open, fearing someone had hurt his cousin. But as he saw her sitting up crying into her hands, he too felt like crying, but he held it in. Hinata, are you okay? Come on, you can tell me anything. I'm your Nissan, Neji said as he kneeled next to her, holding her and making hushing noises. No, Neji Nissan, I'm not. It hurts so much. Hinata managed to shout out before embracing her cousin and crying into his shoulder for all she was worth. Neji was speechless. He didn't understand why she was crying. But then memories of Naruto came back to mind, and he had remembered her cousin's actions around him, and he suddenly realized why she was crying. It's okay, Hinata, Naruto will return and then you can talk, laugh and play with him all you want, Neji said to try and lighten her mood. Hinata looked up, still crying slightly, but a look of surprise on her face. How did you know? Hinata spoke slowly as she thought that if Neji knew, maybe others knew also. It's quite obvious, Hinata. I mean, I am your cousin, I can tell who you like, who you love. Neji said, trying to reassure her that it will be okay. Hinata looked surprised and blushed all over. She started but couldn't finish as her throat felt like it had clogged up, and she began to brawl with utter sorrow onto her cousin's already drenched coat's shoulder. That's right, get it all out of your system, and after that I'm holding you to your promise, young Hinata Nisan, Neji said with a grin on his face as if to say come on. Hinata looked up for a minute with confusion all over her face. What promise is that, Neji Nisan? Hinata spoke with a confused tone of voice. The one you said yesterday at the training grounds. You will become strong for Naruto, so I guess seems as though no one here is able to train you. I guess I can teach you all you need to know, and from then on out you can create your own jutsus and fighting styles. Hinata gasped and then happily hugged her cousin. Thank you so much, Neji Nisan, Hinata spoke softly. Neji looked surprised as she hugged him, but happily returned the hug with as much enthusiasm as she did. You are welcome, Hinata Nisan. Hinata got dressed and then quickly walked out of the room, following Neji to the training grounds for her Byakugan, 8 trigrams 64 palms, and rotation jutsu training. Oh, it has been 7 days of training for Naruto and he had finally met his deadline. Well, young pup, it seems as though you have completed your training. Your chakra has tripled, your strength and speed has 10-folded, and it looks like you've grown braver and smarter too. As well as knowing how to handle others' unpleasantries too. The fox stood there with a mischievous grin on his face. Shut up, damned fox. But also thank you for your training. So is the darkness element inside of me or what? And how come my chakra's gone up when I'm using your chakra? 1. Yes, the element is inside of you and is fused along with your chakra. 2. Due to my chakra seeping through your body, as soon as the elemental chakra was released, my chakra strengthens yours whenever you use mine for a long period of time. Cool. So are you gonna teach me how to do this enhancement jutsu or what? Yes, hold on 1 second. All of a sudden Naruto's mind was filled with the information needed for this jutsu. Ag sweet, Naruto exclaimed as he jumped for joy. Okay, to activate it, simply feel the chakra in your arms and legs and in your stomach. Okay, feel it? Yeah, I do. Now what? Notice how the chakra isn't activated by pulling your chakra from there into its needed location, which is arms, legs and stomach. Naruto felt this force and quickly activated it. Wow, I can feel the strength and speed inside of me. Hey, watch this, Naruto said as he ran full force up a tree, using his chakra in his feet to run up the tree horizontally. Impressive, young pup. It is to seems that you have successfully activated this trait that we sages know. Well done. Now from here on out you need to pack up your stuff and head northeast towards the mountains. We're going to start sage training with the Master Toad Sage. Hey, come to think of it, wasn't my perverted sensei a toad sage? You know Jiraiya sensei? Yes, he is one of the few humans accepted by the toads to become a toad sage. Seems as though you have already signed the sheet of paper that Jiraiya gave you that allowed you to agree to be a master of the toads and summon them to do your bidding. So that sheet of paper gives me access to be taught by these crazed frogs? Cool. Yes, young pup, they will know that you are one of the few that has signed this sheet because you used your blood to sign it. Now whenever they see you they can tell that you are a toad summoner. So how will the test go? Will it be like the darkness element training? Naruto said, anxious to know the answer. No, all element training types are different, so this may be harder or easier depending on what they try to teach you. Even though I have already taught you a demon sage jutsu, I didn't put you through full demon sage training. And I don't think you will be ready until you master toad sage. What? So that week of training was just to learn one jutsu? Naruto exclaimed loudly in his head. Well, that and the first part of sage training, which is to have darkness element within you. So yes, it was for something. At this moment we call you a darkness apprentice, because you only know one darkness jutsu. Okay, I guess so. So how long a trip is it until I arrive there? Naruto asked questionably. It won't take as long. About a 3-hour run if you set off now. The main reason I chose this town is 1, because of its easy money-making abilities. And 2, for its closeness to the Toad Sage's training grounds. Let us continue, young pup, we have a destination to get to. Hi, Naruto said before he jumped into the air as fast as he could, activating the enhancement jutsu he had learnt and sped off into the distance. Oh. Meanwhile, Sakura was training hard with the Hokage as they tried to perfect a jutsu Sakura was trying to learn that could heal someone with a medium level or lower poison instantly. But it was very hard work and she had been practicing for weeks. Sakura, you need to slow down, you're going to exhaust your chakra reserves. Tsunade said in a concerned voice and had a concerned face. I can't stop, Hokage-sama, I need to train hard for Naruto-kun. If I am ever needed to heal him I want to do it fast and without fail. Tsunade grinned and allowed her pupil to continue in her training. Oh. Meanwhile Hinata and Neji are practicing their rotation jutsus with each other. Hinata, would you like to take a rest now? You seem to be panting and breathing heavily. Neji said with a concerned voice. No, I am fine, Neji-Nisan. Please don't take a break, I know Naruto-kun wouldn't. And I have to keep strong for him. I couldn't live with myself if he was killed because I couldn't protect him. Hinata said, fighting back tears as she thought about Naruto and dead in the same sentence. Neji nodded and reassumed his stance. Come on then, Hinata-Nisan, let us battle. Oh. While the rest of the Konoha 11 trained and spared with each other, Kakashi took note at how much they had improved over the past few weeks since Naruto had left. They're all working so hard, Kakashi. Kakashi turned around and noticed Iruka. Iruka was looking a bit sad in his eyes, but he tried to put on a happy face. Yeah, they are. So what brings you here? Kakashi said, waiting for an answer. Just wanted to hang out a little, since Naruto has gone. You were his teacher as well as I am, so you know the feeling knowing that he ran away, it's pretty painful. Iruka said with a look of pain sketched across his face. Yeah, but remember he will return, so we really have nothing to worry about and just wait for his return. Kakashi said, trying to reassure his obviously hurt fellow Jonin. You're right, we can only look towards the future. And in 4 years, I'll bet he will kick both our asses and have energy for reserve, huh? Iruka said, a little bit more determined. The two of them smiled and turned to the training ninja while they worked on becoming the best they could. Oh. Naruto had finally arrived at the mountains as he gaped at how big and pointy they were. Oh my god, you want me to climb this thing? Naruto shouted inwardly as he imaged getting a long stick with a sharp edge and poking the demon with it. HRRRMMMPPHHH. Stop that, it's annoying. And yes, I expect you to take that pathway, and in 1 hour you should make it into the frog's swamp and will be greeted by guards. How come you know so much about all this sage business, him? Naruto said curiously, and a hint of anger from still having to climb the mountains. Well, the fact that I'm immortal and have lived since the beginning of time might explain that I know almost everything there is to know. Well, yeah, I guess that does explain a lot. Anyway, off we go. Yes, that would be wise, young pup. Oh. 1 hour later, after jumping from ledge to ledge and slowly circling upward of the hills until he hit a pathway that led in a straight line for as far as he could see. Hey Fox, is this where I need to head into? Naruto said, unsure if he should venture into this icy abyss. Yes, continue to go down here and then eventually you should find the swamp. Hey, but aren't swamps often hot places that reside in wet places, not freezing cold glaciers? 1. That makes it so no one will venture up here. 2. It just adds to the mystical vibe the place gives off. Ha ha ha. The first one makes sense, but the second is kinda stupid, hee hee hee. Yes, I guess so, but think about it. Where other place would you learn to master a toad sage's training than in a mysterious place that makes no sense? A mysterious place that makes sense? God damn, all these sage training places best not be as fucked up as this one. Naruto looked amused by his words. Ha ha ha, you're gonna have worse than this, trust me kiddo. What? There are more stupid ones than this. Naruto looked shocked and amused that he would get to call the next stupid sage training area names too. Yes, small things amuse small minds, young pup. That's why I always secretly laugh at your manhood. Naruto bursted out laughing at his, oh so original, joke. Smart mouth bastard, the fox mumbled while he sat back down and calmed himself before he ate the boy's head from the inside. What are you thinking, fox? Naruto asked, not knowing what the fox was thinking. Oh nothing at all, why do you ask? The fox said in a quick innocent tone. No reason, just wanted to make conversation. Hey, is that? Naruto started but then confirmed his thoughts as he very clearly felt warmer and he saw a rainforest tree up ahead. We're here, damn fox, wake up. Naruto said, but there was no need. The Kyuubi was wagging his tail as he saw the first tree visible. Naruto began to run full speed in that direction and finally jumped down onto the warm, murky, hardly stable ground. Ah shit, I had to stand in the frickin' mud, didn't I? I mean seriously, this stuff is nasty and is going to ruin my trousers. You mean your bright orange jumpsuit trousers? Come on, they were ruined the day they were made and then even more ruined when they placed them on you. The Kyuubi seemed to laugh hysterically as he mused over his joke for a minute. As soon as the fox had stopped laughing and Naruto had stopped shouting at him telling him to shut up and damned fox this and that. No sooner did two big frogs jump towards the young boy. Ah, it seems you are young Jiraiya's student, aren't you? Well, come with us, we weren't expecting you at the age you are, but oh well. Let's get you to the Grand Master Toad Sage, huh? The first toad said to him. Yeah, okay, sure. I've been wanting help to train as a toad sage, that's why I am here. Naruto said, proud and brave. Yeah, we know that's why you're here. What other reason could anyone have? I mean, it's a goddamned swamp. You humans don't seem to like that, so get on my back, boy, and we will take you to the Grand Master, the second toad said in an impatient voice. Okay, sure, thanks, Naruto said whilst grinned to the toad as he jumped on its back. It was a 30-minute ride before he finally arrived at a training ground with stone houses meant for humans. The Grand Master Toad Sage will be ailing shortly, please wait here for him. Naruto waited for him for 40 minutes and still he didn't show up. So Naruto, about to de-stress on how much longer it would take, the fox quickly spoke up. It would be wise not to move, shout, talk, or even breath loudly. This is a test, I can tell. You see, toads and frogs are scared of sound and movement, so if you stay still without saying anything for a bit longer, I am sure he will show up. Good idea, fox, I will stay quiet and be still for a while. Naruto said inwardly as he got comfortable and stayed in the position for 5 minutes. Finally, all of a sudden, a small skinny toad appeared before him with a gray goatee and gray hide around the edge of his head. He also wore a black cloak with a strange symbol on the back of it with a wooden cane. Hello, young troublemaker, what brings you here? Well, I already know what, but why do you want it? The Grand Master said in a croaked voice with a hint of curiosity in it. I am here to train under your hands the arts of the Toad Sage. I am here because I feel I am weak and that I cannot protect my friends. I am here because one day I seek out to become Hokage and to never give up. I believe there will be a day when people truly understand each other and live in peace. I wish to train under you so I may protect the village, Naruto said with a lot of courage, and after he said his speech he lowered his back and bowed to the Grand Master Toad Sage while his knees were on the floor and his palms spread across the ground as he looked down. Please, Grand Master Toad Sage. I can't return to my village until I have become strong enough to protect it. Can you help me become stronger, sensei? Naruto said with all the respect he could muster up. The Toad Sage, touched by his words and actions, nodded. Even though Naruto couldn't see it, he felt it and returned to his standing position and bowed. I will not fail you, Toad Sensei. The Grand Master Toad Sage just nodded. Please call me Jabba-sensei, it is so much shorter to say, and type 2. P. Naruto just nodded and followed him into a training dojo. Inside were rock pillars, stalagmites or stalactites whichever points upwards, that were quite long, and on top of them were rock slabs placed onto them balanced. Pay no attention to them at this present moment, they are no concern to you at the present. Jabba said as he continued to walk out of the door and towards a pond that had liquid black tar bubbling up from its surface. Naruto just nodded and followed him out of the door and towards the black liquid death that looked as if he would be swallowed by it. This is the start of training. As you can see, it just looks like tar. But it is actually toad oil. It helps let nature out. As you can see, it also supercharges the water element. Jabba said in a proud and high-browed tone of voice. So what do I have to do? Naruto said, wishing? No, praying. It wouldn't be to eat or drink the stuff. You have to rub it over your body and it will let the energy of nature surge through you. Eventually you will accept the first part of the element and be able to start the next half of the training. Although it may take a while because the first half is to battle off the oil from mutating you, which don't worry, I can stop by hitting you with my stick. Jabba said in a convincing way. Well, I guess so, yeah. Let's get to training. I'm gonna make 4 clones. Can you stay at a ready pace if I do it like that? Naruto said, a little bit worried about the mutating part but reassured that it wouldn't happen. Yes, but only 5 of you, okay? I can't keep up with this waka Naruto at my age. The Toad Sage not listening to what he had just said. How do you know my name, sensei? Naruto asked curiously. Well, your sensei spoke of you all the time to me. The Toad said, covering up the whole story but still not telling a lie. Oh, I see, Naruto said, reassured and happy that his sensei talked about him. Oh. A few weeks had passed but he finally completed the first half of his training. Well, that is something. It took Jiraiya months to learn the first half, but this kid, Jabba said proudly and confidently about his new pupil. Well, come on Naruto, you still have more training to be done. Now you can't always count on the oil to do this. So we need to complete this next half of the training or all of this would have been pointless. Yes, sensei, Naruto exclaimed while he followed the Toad Sage. This boy's chakra is incredible. I wonder if I take a look at it. Oh my god. The Toad Sage had just noticed that Naruto had been fused with dark chakra. Boy, how did you adapt to dark chakra? How can you use it? The Toad Sage said, amazed that this boy had it. It's okay boy, you can tell him. Just tell him not to tell anyone else, okay? Why shouldn't anyone else know, and how come he can know? Naruto asked dumbfounded. Because boy, he is your sensei and he deserves to know. And no one else should know because there is only you and the Sage of the 6 who have ever had the element. Other than us demons anyway. Well, as you may or may not know, the Kyuubi is inside of me, and he taught me the dark element. The way of the demon sage. But I haven't completed my training, Naruto said to Jabba in a light voice, trying not to scare his sensei away from him. I see, you boy are looking for a bright and shiny future. I mean, you're learning to become a Sage of the 6, aren't you boy? Well, I'm not going to stand in your way. Follow me my boy and I will make you strong. Jabba said with absolute respect for the boy standing in front of him. Thank you sensei, Naruto said as he followed his teacher. As they both began to stand on the stone and balance on it, the Toad Sage started to talk. My boy, what you have to do here is very simple and very hard at the same time. It is simple because all you have to do is stay absolutely still. The hard part is that you have to stay perfectly still while it happens. You can't budge an inch, not a millimeter. Jabba said with an amused look on his face. God damn, that sucks. But oh well, guess I'll get to it. Naruto stayed still for many an hour. Sometimes he had fallen asleep and he would stay there so long, and every now and then he would slip off. But he felt that he was improving. Oh. A few weeks went by and Naruto was finally starting to get the hang of it. Never falling off anymore and very rarely falling asleep either. His master was very pleased with his newfound abilities and knew that this boy would become the chosen one. Oh. A few more weeks had gone by and suddenly chakra that tenfolded his surged into his body as he stood completely still. His master was amazed by what he saw. The chakra he saw was amazing, and he knew that this kid had great amounts of chakra without help from the sage's chakra. On his own, his chakra was that 100 times an ordinary chunin. This is about 10 to 20 times more chakra than a jonin. And already he had as much chakra as his sensei Jiraiya. His master just awed in his chakra. It was actually physical and he felt he could touch it. The chakra washed over him and helped rejuvenate his own. Naruto, you have finished your element training. My boy, you kicked ass. Jabba said in a nice yet exited voice. Thanks Jabba-sensei. So what training is there now? Naruto said, excited too. Well, there is the water training. But first you know how you have to be completely still in battle for the chakra to come in and out of you. Well, this symbol that I will stitch onto your vest is chakra encased and will allow you to access the chakra at any time, without having to stay still for an hour. It renews the chakra every hour so that you can instantly access it easily, and the symbol is unstitchable and can be placed onto new clothing. Naruto looked awed at how cool that sounded. Sweet. Every day I'm getting stronger, I can feel it. Naruto said proudly and excited. Yes my boy, you are. Now enough of this time wasting, let's get to water sage training. Oh. Meanwhile in Konoha, it's been 2 months since he decided to leave, Sakura said as she looked off into the distance but still looking towards the floor. The rest of the group all looked sad and sorrowful as they all stood on the northeast wall of Konoha that Naruto decided to jump over that day and run off. Even Shino looked sad. A few of the girls had tears in their eyes for the temporary loss of their comrade and the suffering he could be going through. Hinata, who was standing behind Neji, not wanting the others to see her sadness as she cried into Neji's back as silently as she could. Tenten noticed her crying into Neji's back and went over to try and soothe her, making shushing noises as she tried not to make this into a scene. Sakura was the first to speak up again. It's all my fault he left. Ino saw this and quickly grabbed her friend and pulling her into her embrace and letting her sob into her shoulder. It isn't Sakura, it was those damned villages' fault. And the fact that he just felt alone, I guess. Ino tried to comfort her friend to no success. You were there, Ino. If I had been, just not so nasty then. She couldn't finish her sentence as she broke out in another fresh load of tears that plagued her face. Sasuke looked down at her and tried to comfort her best he could. Shish, Sakura-chan, I am sure Naruto is fine. And he told us that he wasn't mad at anyone in the letter he left. The note said he was going to go and train, so when he came back he would have respect and that people would see him for what he really is, except for what they see him as now. Everyone looked shocked and curious. What do they see him as, Sakura? Tenten said, looking suspicious. Yes, I was wondering that too, Neji said in the same level of suspiciousness. I can't tell you. Remember when Kakashi said that, those who know why they hate him keep it to yourselves, it's up to Naruto to say. I think it is up to Naruto to say, Sakura said as she brawled some more, this time on Sasuke's shoulder. Sakura, I don't give a damn, tell me what is Naruto. Kiba shouted and Akamaru barked as if to agree. Mind your own bastard business. It doesn't concern you about this at this time. Be patient, Sakura said as she stood up, hands clenched very hard and teeth gritting. Kiba looked scared and quickly backed off, saying he was sorry. Hinata looked curious at this, but she let it go as she went on to think about Naruto and if he was okay. Oh. 2 months later, at Toad Sage's training area. Well, Naruto, you seem to have been taught all there is to know about sage training. Here, this ring proves that you are a master Toad Sage. And yes, Jiraiya also has this ring, as you have noticed. It isn't anything magical, just a sign that says you're messing with a sage, bitch, back da fuck up. Jabba said as he laughed at his remark, and Naruto too had a hearty full stomach laugh as he heard it. You have learned every jutsu the Toad Sage has, including Water Dragon Spirit no Jutsu, which allows you to control 2 big-ass water dragons which will consume their target and encase them with paralyzing water that will drown your opponents. Ice Spike no Jutsu, allowing you to freeze the ground and using it as a modeling area where you can spike up ice spikes as big as houses, just with a swish of the fingers. Toad Army Summon, allowing the caster to summon armies of Genin Jonin Toad Sages to battle. Allowing to turn a ball of water into oil and then combusting it and making it spit out tentacles of lava that will consume anything and everything it comes to contact with. I know I stole this off of something. And the many other S-rank jutsus he now held in his arsenal. Well, it's been fun, Jabba-sensei, but I have a life and a dream to fulfill. You can inform Jiraiya-sensei if you wish. I won't return to them just yet. But please keep the demon sage thing a secret for now, please. Naruto said in a mature, excited but also sad he was leaving tone. Okay Naruto, I won't tell Jiraiya about the demon sage. But my boy, remember to live out your dream and stop at nothing to complete it. Unless it's a good thing that's in your way, ha ha ha. Jabba laughed but was also sad the human was leaving. He had actually grown close to the boy. Naruto laughed as well and saying his goodbyes to the rest of the toads he had gotten familiar with. And with that he left. Well, it's been a while young pup, so now that you're a master toad sage it looks like we need to get you started on demon sage training, huh? He. Yeah sure. Let us leave this place and start my demon training. I have a lot I wish to learn. They both laughed inwardly as this 12-year-old master toad sage and apprentice demon sage left the swampy mountains and headed to their previous town to pick up the job and continue training. Oh, so hey, Kyuubi? What jutsus does darkness training hold? What jutsus do the demon sages use? Come on tell me, Naruto said, not wanting to wait any longer to find out the information. Well, not only will you learn the Shadow Leap Jutsu, which is a lesser version of the Shadow Step Jutsu, which I will go into the information of that when I think you are ready. To continue, the Shadow Leap is basically very simple. Either use the right hand symbols to teleport you 20 feet away from where you once stood, or an even more effective way is to carve the seal onto a kunai or throwing weapon and activate the seal to teleport you 5 feet away from the kunai or thrown object. The object can be activated as many times as possible and is a good way to sneak into enemy hideouts or places normally unreachable. You get the point. I know I suck. I have taken this as idea for Gadalarune's story, the person I admire, and I apologize that I can't think of my own ideas at the moment. It's like 11 p.m. and I'm tired, sad face, so yeah. So what you're trying to say is that I can teleport to any area within 5 feet of the thrown object to which I have inscribed the seal onto it and thrown it to its desired location. God damn, that was highbrow. Anyway, yeah, that's the idea. Also, there's the ultimate shadow clone jutsu. Instead of it vanishing when it gets hit, you can pump more chakra into it to subside the damage. And let your clone continue. Perfect for fooling your opponent, making him think that your clone is the real you. And also for keeping it alive longer to blow the crap out of your opponents. That sounds awesome. What else? Naruto said hastily, wanting to know the answer to his question. Well, there's probably only one more you will be interested to know about, and it's an eye trick almost like the Sharingan or Byakugan, except it isn't a bloodline limit. It's a sage trick. It's known as Oni Gyoshi no Jutsu. Search the phrase in English to Japanese English. It was really cool. Its translation is demon stare. It will allow you to sense chakra not so far away from you. It is not as good as Byakugan, but oh well. It also allows you to see not so a glance of what your opponent might do. I can't stress enough that he could be faster than his prediction, so if this is the case, the best thing to do is deactivate the sage trick. It also has the ability that when your opponent looks into your eyes, it will be like the Sharingan effect. Instead, you send your opponent into a deeper layer of hell to which they won't return to the world for 6 hours. The effects are worsened and more graphical the further the layers of hell you send him to. At level 10 is the deepest layer, and they will die mentally or at very best be in a coma for the rest of his/her life. It's a pretty violent thing the Oni Gyoshi is, and it isn't a toy to mess around with. Training with it will worsen the effects. Damn, well, that's pretty damn cool, but God, I'd hate to fight me if I had that Oni Gyoshi. And what does it look like? The eye effect? Naruto said, a little bit scared of this newfound jutsu. And a little curious of how cool it would look. Well, your eyes would turn as dark red as jam, and let's just say whoever looks at it won't soon forget it. Then again, they'd probably be dead. So no worries. Hey Kyuubi-sensei, I think I can see the town coming up. Naruto said, sick of walking and running. All he wanted to do was have a nice sit down and loaf. Yes, that appears to be the same noisy festival town you oh so love. I don't see its big attractions at all, except for maybe those stripper bars. Let's go in one of them. Please. Desperate damned perverted fox. No goddamn way are you ejaculating in my mind. Naruto said angrily, but finding amusement in his words. Ha ha ha. Well, I eat shit and piss in your mind, so I don't see what the problem is, do you? You, what? Oh my god. I have been defiled in my mind. Naruto shouted this out loud and stared to run around ranting and raving about that was the reason he was so stupid, because the Kyuubi had 12 years of feces clogged in his mind. Ha ha ha. I'm joking, spirits don't shit or eat or urinate, we're immortals. How can we die of starvation if we do not eat? How can we shit if we do not eat? How can we piss if we do not drink? And don't say to me it's impossible, all living things need to eat, because earlier I told you our anatomy is different to you puny humans. Oh thank God? Naruto sighed a sigh of relief. But you are still stupid. Anyway, go talk to that weird fuck up over there. I don't even think he realizes you've gone. I hate working for this inbred. I don't get paid enough for him to sit and dribble over me. Naruto, not realizing that he had entered the city and that he was in front of the door of Billy Bob's Plumbers and Pals. Hey, when did I get here? I didn't even notice walking into the town. Naruto said in wonderment of how far away he was a minute ago. Well, maybe if you weren't shouting at me so much or thanking your god, then maybe, just maybe, you would have noticed the looks from other kids and adults as you passed. What were their looks? Did they fear or hate me? Naruto said, starting to feel a little depressed. No, they were looking at you with awe. You don't realize what you look like, do you? You look as hot as Magma Boy. The girls are giving you looks of lust. The boys are looking at you with jealousy, and the adults are looking at you as if to say, I'm gonna get him to marry my daughter, kinda looks. Look at yourself, you're 12 with a 22-year-old's 8-pack and washboard abs. Go on, young pup, lose your virginity here. Grab some ass now, you damn perverted fox. I am 12 years old trying to become the strongest ninja alive, not ram some random woman's womanhood. Now I suggest you take a cold shower before you actually do start to get all randy inside my mind. Naruto glared inwardly. Alas, my wisdom is wasted on a pauper. But still, I guess you're saving yourself for her, huh? Last time, she does not think that way. She is the most beautiful, wonderful woman in the world, and I know I have no chance with her, but the least I can do is to dedicate myself to her. And to protect her for the rest of my life. You humans are so cliché, but oh well, I do see your point about protecting her and being happy so long as she is happy. But there is one slight miscalculation. She wants you. Stupid human, why do you think she always faints around you? Why she is always fidgeting around you? And that she can't look you in the eyes when she talks to you? It isn't because she is timid or shy. I mean, well, she is. But that's one of the reasons you love her, huh? You want to make her confident. You want to make her happy, don't you? She is reasonable and confidentish around others, able to look at them, but for you it's like an overload. Boy, wake up and smell the coffee. Didn't realize that was her implication. I always thought that she always fainted around me because she knew about you. Naruto said, shocked but a hint of happiness. Well, you humans haven't evolved enough to understand feelings with just a hint. You really can't be blamed either, you are kind dim, and no, she doesn't know about me. Hey, damned fox. Oh, never mind, I can't be bothered to talk to you. Naruto said inwardly as he approached his previous boss's building. Well, at least she didn't know about Kyuubi, she would probably run in fear. Naruto opened the door and walked inside, only to be greeted with the same weirdo and the same banjo. Welcome back, kiddo. It's been a while, about a month I reckon. So what brings ya back to this slice of the world? Billy Bob said with a slack-jawed expression. Oh my god, he's turning more and more into a South American every day. Sorry, it had to be said. Well, I went on a little trip, but I'm back now to reassume my job. Naruto said with a bored expression. Well, I guess I could take ya back, lady. That is if ya can win me in a fight. Billy Bob said in a serious face and tone. What, you want to fight me? Naruto said with a puzzled yet shocked face. Hee. I saw this coming a mile away, don't take him like he's weak. I could spot a golem sage a mile away. A what? Naruto screamed, inwardly curious to know what he meant by it. Well, the main reason I wanted you to come here is because this was a friend of mine. I took him to Oblivion because his master was a client of mine. I will say no more than that for now. Anyway, this guy was trained from the Grand Master Golem Sage himself. It would be wise to learn from him. I know he is a hillbilly, but all Golem Sages are. There isn't one alive to this day that I haven't seen him wearing a straw hat with suspenders. It's actually pretty scary. Naruto looked shocked but instantly changed it to curiosity. So you want to fight me, huh? Well, let's find a nice quiet place outside the village to spar then. Naruto said with excitement in his eyes, knowing that he is going to fight a master sage. So they walked towards the city exit, eyeing the other's characteristics every now and then. Oh, outside the city. Billy Bob removed his glove. Do you know what this is, boy? This ring? It symbols me to be a master sage. Not just that, but a master golem sage nonetheless. Billy Bob said with a lot more grammar and punctuation in his words, which surprised Naruto. The ring had a black symbol of a rock with a green background. Naruto lifted his hands up to show his ring, which had black waves and a blue background. Well, this symbols me to be a master toad sage, so I guess we are even, huh? Naruto said, looking smug that he had shocked Billy Bob. Damn, that is pretty cool, a sage on sage battle, huh? Let us begin, Billy Bob shouted as he made some hand seals and jumped into the air. Earth Redemption no Jutsu. Billy Bob shouted as the ground Naruto was standing on began to arise and about 30 living golems rose to ground level. Holy shit, this guy can make living inanimate objects out of earth. Is this a puppet master jutsu, Fox? Naruto said as he dodged the thrown projectiles of earth whizzing past his head. No, unfortunately this was supposed to be a puppet master jutsu, but it looks like this guy's put living chakra into their bodies so he doesn't have to control them. It looks bad, but try using the combination jutsu with water, oil and fire. You really need to come up with a name for it. Yeah, okay, I'll do that so it will have splash damage and take out the majority of them. Naruto said as he lifted water and moisture from living plants around him. Then made the water into a big ball and made some hand signs and shouted out, water to oil no jutsu. As soon as he shouted it, the water turned to oil. After that he did a basic fire-style jutsu and then finally, while still dodging the blocks of earth thrown at him, did a quick one-handed hand sign and shouted out, tentacles of Armageddon no jutsu. As he completed the jutsu, he quickly ran away from the area about 300 feet from the hovering burning ball that was lifeless. Naruto jumped behind a large rock waiting for the destruction. Is that it? A hovering ball of fire that if someone purposely touched it then they might get a boo-boo? Billy Bob said as he laughed ironically. But while he was laughing he didn't see, never mind, here a giant tentacle of solid lava shoot out at bullet speed and wipe out 6 of his golems. Billy Bob turned around and noticed 6 of his golems burnt to a liquid finish by a now huge tentacle. More and more spurt out in random areas until there were 10 tentacles. The tentacles finally started to move wildly and randomly crushing and burning anything it touched. Trees were alight with flames and all the golems were now liquid versions of themselves. Billy Bob having to move very fast to dodge the tentacles and had to jump back unaware that Naruto had a charged level 5 Rasengan rushing towards him. As he turned his head round, still jumping in mid-air, he noticed Naruto with the swirling shape energy that was the Rasengan. This is it, Billy Bob, you were beaten in this sparring match. Naruto shouted as his Rasengan connected with Billy Bob's back. Billy Bob went flying over on ahead and landed face first into a massive boulder and drove right into it. As the dust settled, Naruto was amazed that Billy Bob was almost unharmed and hardly a scratch on him. How? Was all that Naruto could ask as Billy Bob stood up and explained. Well, you see, being an earth element sage, I quickly made a jutsu in mid-air that would protect me from damage. To put it short, I made my body of the same density of steel for 10 seconds. Even still, that jutsu you used had incredible power and it's only a half-made jutsu. Billy Bob said as he looked at awe at the 12-year-old boy that had defeated him. What do you mean a half jutsu? Naruto asked, curious that the Rasengan could be improved. Well, you see, as you know, there are 6 sages equaling to 6 elements. There are 2 types or forms of jutsu styles: element training and shape manipulation training. You seem to have both down, but have you combined them yet? Think about it. Water element added to that shape manipulation, it would supercharge it. Who knows the effects until it's made, but I must warn you, no one has ever done it before, but my master said it was possible. That there would be a young boy one day that would complete the training. I bet it's a whole load of news, knowing that I only put on the hillbilly voice to try to not arouse suspicion. So, do you want me to train you in Golem Sage or not? Billy Bob said in a confident manner, knowing that this child would be the one. It is wise to take his training, young pup. He is at the same level his master is and the training will be wherever you want it to be. Yes, please take me under your wing. I will learn from you whenever you deem me fit, Naruto said as he bowed to his new master. Looks like I will have to put Demon Sage training on hold for a bit, pup. Please teach me the way of the Golem Sage, sensei, Naruto said, showing his usual respect. Not a problem, we will begin now. As you may know, water and earth are opposites, and the training is in opposites too. Think about it, in water training you probably went through strengthening the mind, did you not? Well, in earth training it will be physical training, Billy Bob said in a highbrow manner. Yes, I understand. So in water training I learned about allowing nature to function through me. What will I try to learn here? Naruto said with curiosity. Well, that part of the training is sort of the same. You see, earth and water are both equally a part of nature, so that part won't change. But in golem sage training you will have to withstand pain. You will have many bruises after this, my boy, but I assure you that you can succeed. The first half is accepting the element into your chakra by withstanding pain, making you harden your skin and define your muscles to its limits. The second half is reflexes and strength. Basically, I will throw big boulders at you while you are blindfolded and you will hit it in mid-air, causing it to break or deflect. Billy Bob said in a pleased tone of voice. Will this leave any scares at all? Naruto asked, wincing at the thought of getting boulders thrown at him. Yes it will, but it is a price you pay for physical ultimateness, Billy Bob said, trying to reassure Naruto to no success. Do not worry, pup, the scars I will heal after the training is gone, I reassure you. But golem training, as you can remember, I said, last but not least, well, I meant it. It is probably the most physically tiring of the 6. Naruto relieved that he wouldn't have scars but scared at the fact that this would be the most tiring of the 6. But his face shone with confidence. I'll do it, Billy sensei. Well said, pup, well said, now get to work. Okay then, put these leg weights on. He looked surprised that Naruto was already wearing leg weights. I know you are already wearing leg weights, but these are specially made and fit for this training, and they are a little bit heavier, so it will maximize the outcome of your training, Billy Bob said with pride of his new student. Hi, sensei, Naruto exclaimed as he took his old leg weights off and put the new ones on. Well done, my boy, well done, the fox said as it lowered his big head and curled up in a ball of fur. Naruto began to listen to his teacher as he told him what he was in for. Naruto just smiled and nodded, as the two of them prepared for the long, painful training that Naruto would receive. Naruto had been exhausted throughout the entire process. He just stood there while he braced himself, getting hit from different directions. It had been 3 hours of training when Billy Bob decided that enough was enough for today and that Naruto had lost enough blood. No, don't stop. I need to become stronger, damn it, Naruto said as he winced in pain but then collapsed before Billy Bob could deny him it. Well, it seems you are determined, young one, but you do not have enough energy. You have only just come back from your trip and you managed to last twice as long as me. You are special now, aren't you, boy? Billy Bob said in a proud tone. Well, let's get you back to town so I can heal your wounds. Billy Bob carried Naruto back to the town. He carried him like a fireman would carry an unconscious victim of a fire. Oh, back in Konoha, all of Konoha 11 was sitting around a large coffee table waiting for a mission. They would normally be doing stuff, but they just didn't feel like they were in the mood today. Sakura and Hinata looked the most depressed, while the others still looked pretty down. Hinata was in the lead, followed by Sakura. And surprisingly in third place was Sasuke, although Sasuke had a hint of anger about him. Sakura was the first to speak up. Man, it is so boring without him, Sakura said with a modest and quiet voice but loud enough for everyone to hear. Yeah, I know what you mean. Does anyone feel like training? Kiba said in a low voice as well. Before anyone could answer, the door crashed open to show none other than Jiraiya standing in the doorway. Hey guys, I know you're probably going to hate me for this, but I guess it has to be done, in order to keep all the teams functional. I have allowed a new student to be brought into Team 7. Everyone looked either angry, outraged or furious. You can't just replace Naruto, it has only been a few months. Everyone shouted out in union. I know that, but we need to start to look for the future. Sai here is only a temporary replacement for Naruto. He won't be in the Konoha 12 forever. Just about another 3 years, 9 to 10 months. Jiraiya said, thinking that would reassure them. You can't do this. I don't care if it is temporary. No one will replace Naruto. I will not stand for it, sensei. This Sai guy can just come back from where he came from. Sasuke said, still very angry with the Toad Sannin. I'm sorry, but there is no other way. The best you can do is at least greet him nicely. It is not his fault he has to take Naruto's position temporarily. Jiraiya, hoping that if he said temporary enough it might sink in, as it won't be forever. Fine, I guess, but if this guy is an asshole, so help me God. I am not in the mood, Sasuke said as the others seemed to agree with his words. Well, get ready for Sai's legendary jokes, P. Suddenly Sai casually walked into the room. Hi, My name is Sai and I am from the Anbu Root Division, Sai said, putting on his fake smile trying to be nice. Hello Sai, everyone said in a bored and not so bothered tone of voice. Hello, I hear that you are still upset that your traitor bastard penis-pulling friend left the village, Sai said, thinking he said and did everything right. Jiraiya just jaw dropped as he didn't quite believe the words that came out of Sai's mouth. He quickly pulled the lad out of the room as a very angry group smashed the table in front of them and threw Kunai out of the room in an attempt to snag his shirt so they could most likely kill him painfully. He can't help himself. He had to kill all emotions when he was a child, so he doesn't know how to act casually or socially for that matter. Jiraiya spoke, trying in vain to stop their oncoming attacks. I don't fucking care. This asshole is dead. Sasuke spoke as he charged up a Chidori. I don't really see the problem. Is he protecting his friend because he wants this Naruto's penis? Sai said to Jiraiya in a casual voice as if nothing was happening. You're not helping Sai, Jiraiya said as he sweat dropped at the now infuriated Sasuke sped up, a killer's instinct in his eyes. Sasuke, calm down, we still haven't finished getting rid of your seal on her neck yet. If you use too much chakra it will take over again. Sakura looked concerned for Sasuke a minute while the entire group were closing in on Sai and Jiraiya, who had now taken the stampede outside and round the village. Suddenly Tsunade jumped out at them and she was throbbing with anger. No more needs to be said. Jiraiya, and the rest, stop immediately, I have important news. They all stopped what they were doing and left their rage aside, curious that this could be about Naruto. We have a message from your old master here. I didn't want to open it just in case it's something dirty or rude. Tsunade glared at Jiraiya, who just stood there backing off. Hey, I don't act that way with Jabba-sensei, Jiraiya said, trying to defend himself. Whatever, just open the damn thing, Tsunade said impatiently, losing her glare on Jiraiya and turning here stared to an impatient one. Okay, stop being so angry over nothing, Jiraiya said as he opened the note and began to read it, eyes growing bigger as he began to shake a little at first and then turning the shake into a little bit more violent. Tsunade just looked at him while she worried about what was in the note to make Jiraiya act this way. What is it, Jiraiya? Tsunade said as she walked over to him. The others seemed to be extremely curious except for Sai, that stood there the entire time with a fake grin on his face. Naruto has. Jiraiya started but couldn't find the words as he stood there still shaking. Everyone seemed to jump at the sound of Naruto's name as they all peered in closer to hear what he had to say. Dreading that he would be dead or injured. What, Jiraiya-sensei, what? Sakura said in anticipation with worry sketched across her face. Naruto has mastered the arts of the Toad Sage at the age of 12 and it only took him a few weeks. Furthermore, he is training very hard and that his chakra is equal to mine. Furthermore, he seems to be almost as fast and as strong as me. He really has began to move in the right direction. What, it's been 2 to 3 months and his chakra has 10-folded itself. My god, Jiraiya said with a look of disbelief and shock as the rest around him held the same characteristics in their faces. What? He's gone a mere 3 months and he has more than 300 times a normal Chunin's chakra. When he left it was like 30 times, this isn't human. Tsunade said as she too had a look of shock across her face which was rare. The others in the group also couldn't believe that the loud and noisy ninja they have known throughout their life could go this far in only a few months. The blonde knucklehead ninja, they all thought to themselves. Oh, Naruto had trained for weeks while he stood there getting boulders thrown at him while he withstood each one. His body was literally purple right now from all the abuse he had received from his sensei's training. It had been weeks of almost non-stop training. Sensei, can I take a break? I think I broke something, Naruto said, wincing in pain but knowing that it was for a good reason. Yes, hold on, let me heal you, Billy Bob said as he jogged over to the bruised, battered and broken down form that was Naruto. Billy Bob healed Naruto's broken collarbone and then reassumed his position. Feeling okay, Naruto? Billy Bob said, trying to comfort Naruto. Yeah, I'm good. Let's get back to me hitting boulders with my body. Can't think of another thing I would rather do. Naruto said the last part sarcastically. Oh, stop your complaining. Sage training is a very hard and a long process and you seem to be wising by it. Maybe another week and you will have the first half hands down. Yeah, I guess so. I think the second half will be easier, Naruto said, taking comfort that this was the easiest half. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your whole body is stopping the impact on smaller, more brittle areas from being damaged. As soon as your fists meet the boulders, you're gonna wish you were never born. Naruto grimaced at the sight of his poor knuckles being broken like that. Ow, he thought to himself as he was repeatedly attacked by missiles of boulders. Oh. 1 week later in Konoha. The new Konoha 12 had all been assigned a mission to arrest a hillbilly that had offended a feudal lord when he was invited to fix his boiler when it had broken down. Apparently this was an arrest warrant because the man had left weeks' worth of human feces in the boiler itself. The man only apparently replied with the words, "See ya later, I'll be expecting ma mana in ma bank in a week," and then left, leaving the feudal lord enraged. Of course he vanished without a trace, and they were told his hometown was this very noisy festival town. Oh, it's on cheeky smiley face. So, anyone heard any news of Naru Bastrad yet? Sai spoke up as they raced along the trees to find this Billy Bob. They had a description, a name and a workplace for him, but no description if he would be dangerous or not. Sakura glared at him from behind as she clenched her hands so her palms bled. "If you talk about him like that one more time, you fucking gimp, I will break your annoying bastard face," Sakura shouted as she tried to let her anger go. Everyone else tried to let their anger go too because of what Jiraiya had told them. Flashback. Jiraiya was standing wearing his usual sage uniform and a big scroll on his back while he stood with a serious face. "I know you all want to kill Sai. I know, because so do I, but we cannot let his unorthodox actions or phrases ruin the success rate of this mission. When you come back you can simply ignore or avoid him. But out there you will need to work as a team no matter what. Do I make myself clear?" Jiraiya said with a demanding respect tone of voice. The group nodded and turned as they walked out of the village and got into a steady run through the trees. End flashback. Me too. If you talk about Naruto that way again, I will not hold back on kicking the fucking shit out of your girly gimp suit wearing asshole. Hinata screamed at the dumbfounded Sai. Everyone looked at Hinata, scared of her new ferociousness. As she noted what she had said, she suddenly blushed a deep scarlet and almost passed out from the amount of eyes watching her until Sai spoke up again. "I am sorry, but I show no emotion and I am not good with social conversations. Although you have asked me to stop, I do not quite understand why I should stop. Didn't he betray the village? I'm just wondering why you would protect him even when he went and left the village," Sai said with a puzzled look on his face that was obviously fake. "Well, Sai, he didn't leave the village permanently. He left to train, which isn't the same as leaving the village. It isn't like he left to help fuel the war against Konoha or anything," Sakura said, shocked at the truthfulness of his words when he said that he had no emotions or social knowledge. "Yes, I see, but that didn't answer my question. Why do you stand up for him?" Sai said again, not changing his look on his face. "Well, because we are his friends. You see, friends stick up for each other without expecting much in return. And you see, so long as we think of him, he will return to us," Sakura said in a sad tone of voice, looking down at the ground below. "I see. Well, I can't see why he would return. From what I hear is that he is already a Master Toad Sage. I really don't see why he would want to come back. He has gotten so much stronger over the past few months apparently, and that he would become far stronger by staying away from Konoha," Sai said with all seriousness in his face. "Well, that's because unlike most, Naruto does not desire power. He desires respect and love. And we are the ones that will give it to him. So he trains to protect us so his love and affection doesn't turn to hate and anger if we get hurt or worse." "Ah, I see. Well, I guess I am starting to understand. Thank you for the lesson. Hey look, we have arrived at our destination," Sai said as he looked onward to see banners, stone walls and the stands that held the captivating scents that were shifting their way. "Yes, this fits the description of what that perverted Sanin told us," Shikamaru said as he leapt lazily across the branches. Oh. Meanwhile, Naruto's training. Billy Bob looked at awe as he saw the earth element sinking into the young boy's chakra. The man was baffled at how much chakra this kid had in his body. He noticed the boy had the dark element and suddenly jumped back and fell on the floor with his back against it, holding one hand up defensively as his eyes and mouth grew wider and wider. You have the dark element, boy?" the man said excitedly, but still shocked that the kid had it. Naruto stood up, still purple but feeling a lot more defined, a lot faster, and he felt his chakra could do backflips. "Ow, still hurts," Naruto said as he felt his sides. "Guess I have to keep to my side of the bargain. hold on, I'm gonna heal you fully. The hillbilly watched in awe as Naruto's skin turned back to its usual pinky self. As he stood upright he could feel how strong, fast and how much chakra he had now. Amazing. The man finally spoke up. How are you able to do that, boy? The man continued to ask. It's okay, you can tell him. He seems to be open-minded and no doubts this guy will know and respect me. Well, Naruto started. I am the container of the Kyuubi and I am traveling with it to try and master the 6 elements and master the 6 sages. Naruto continued looking proud of himself. The man was again astounded that he could be awed anymore by this boy. Kid, you keep on impressing and impressing. Not only did it only take you a few weeks to learn the first half but also you have the Kyuubi inside of you. Ha ha ha, it looks like you're, hold on. I can feel ninja coming. Shit, it's the Konoha 11 plus one more person. Run to the village and buy a mask that will cover your hair as well as your face, and buy a cloak so they won't recognize your cloths. Damn it, shit, I know them, I'll be back in 10 minutes sensei. Naruto said as he activated his enhancement jutsu and ran for all he was worth for the wall to jump over it. Billy Bob looked stupefied as he saw Naruto run over the wall as fast as he did. Damn, the kid's fast. Before he could turn around a kunai landed next to his feet. Billy Bob, we have a warrant for you, arrest. If you chose not to comply then we will be forced to use lethal action, Sasuke said as all 12 leapt and made a circle around him. Oh. Naruto had ran to the nearest mask stall he could find. He picked out an orange mask that had a spiral pattern on it. Think Toby from Akatsuki, and quickly purchased it. Then he ran into a clothing store and quickly picked out a cloak that was pitch black and had a lot of pockets that were obviously used for weight training. Here's the money, thanks mister. Naruto shouted as he ran out of the stall and quickly put his cloths and mask on. Naruto placed the previous weights from his old leg weights into his cloak so that it would weigh his cloak down so his cloak didn't lift when he jumped and show off his orange trousers. Naruto quickly ran back to his master. He could hear fighting going off in the distance and most of the villagers were on the wall watching with awe at the sage's abilities versus his friends. The sage had just defeated the last of his friends that seemed to be unconscious except for Hinata and Sakura. Hinata was protecting Sakura as Sakura was healing Rock Lee. Stay away from my friends, you bastard plumber. Hinata yelled. She had gone all out to protect Sakura while she tried to heal her friends. The sage started laughing to himself. Well, maybe if you hadn't attacked me then maybe it wouldn't fall down to this. The sage began as he used some hand signs then shouted out, Earth Spike Jutsu. As he said that a giant spike of earth flew through the air flying towards Hinata. As Hinata closed her eyes for what would feel like her last time, waiting for the missile hit her and for it all to be over, it never came. She dared to open her eyes and when she did she was amazed to see a wall of ice in front of her that had stopped the oncoming missile. Use this jutsu, boy, quickly before they get suspicious. Naruto's mind was filled with the information on a new jutsu the fox had given him, the tone changer no jutsu. So what does this jutsu do, fox? Naruto said, wondering what it did. That will change your tone of voice so they do not recognize you. It is very simple, boy. At that he activated the jutsu and quietly whispered, tone changer no jutsu. His voice suddenly changed to that of a little deeper tone that sounded like he was from the Sound Country. Please sensei, we need to leave now. You have aroused suspicion? Look at the wall, they've all seen you. We need to grab our things and leave. Naruto said desperately, and don't call me by my name. Before you answer, Naruto continued, afraid his friends would find him out. Sure, let's get our things before reinforcements show up. Billy Bob said as the masked and cloaked Naruto and his sensei went to their separate apartments to grab their gear. Oh, why did that cloaked guy protect me? I don't understand, was he trying to be nice or was it that he didn't want a dead shinobi's friends to take him out? Hinata thought to herself while she tried to regain some chakra. Sakura had healed the group and they were all kneeling down resting. How could we be beaten by a plumber? Are all plumbers S-rank criminals? Is this a conspiracy? Sasuke angered that they were beaten by a supposedly C-rank mission. He was definitely an S-rank criminal and this was defiantly an S-rank mission. We were unprepared and unwarned of what he could dish out. Lee shouted as he stood in his good guy pose. As he said that they saw both the hillbilly and what they thought to be a cloaked stanger with an orange mask jump over the wall and run as far south as they could. There's no point chasing them. That plumber hardly broke a sweat and that other guy seemed to easily deflect his missile," Sakura said as she winced in pain from the hit she had received while fighting them. "What I want to know is why that stranger saved me. I mean, he went out of his way to save me. He had no motive to save me as an S-rank criminal. Why would he care if I lived or not?" Hinata said out loud for everyone to hear. "I'm not sure Hinata-chan, but I'm sure that whoever he is we are all thankful because not only did he save your life but all of ours. That plumber could have done anything to us when we were knocked out," Kiba said with a faraway look in his eye when he looked at the town's wall. "Well, I guess we will never find out. You ready for heading back, anyone?" No one liked the idea of leaving, but they had to report to the Hokage that the mission was a failure. "Yes, that would be best. There is no point following them. They are way too strong for us," Shino said as he stood there emotionless and motionless. The group ran back the way they came, thankful no one was hurt. All were unhappy with the unsatisfactory job they had done, but they kept their spirits up because they considered that a lesson that could make them stronger. Oh, Naruto and his hillbilly sensei ran as far south as they could until it hit nightfall. "I hear there is a town up ahead. It isn't much, but it will give us jobs to pay for out things. It will give us shelter and it will give us time to practice with your sage training, my pupil," Billy Bob said as he stopped running. "We best set up camp now. You ready?" Billy Bob asked as he yawned and stretched. "Yeah, sure, I think I'm about done for the day too," Naruto said, imitating his teacher. Both of them set up camp as they made a tent out of wood that Naruto chopped, many quilts that Billy Bob brought, and a campfire that both helped make together. They both retired to their separate tents and went to sleep, not wanting to wait for tomorrow's training. Naruto woke up as he saw his sensei packing up his quilts and scattering the fire. "Oh hey Naruto, you awake now?" his now not so redneck sensei asked while he scattered the fire. "Yeah, I'm awake now. I guess you woke me, huh?" Naruto said with an accusing look. He, well, guilty as charged," Billy Bob said as he finished packing all his quilts into an oversized backpack made for camping. "You can take that cloak and mask off now, you know, it's kind of disturbing." Billy Bob continued, a little scared that he couldn't see his pupil's usual perky, cheerful face. "Oh, I forgot I was even wearing it still," Naruto said as he packed his equipment, cloak and mask he was just wearing, into his identical backpack. "Well, I think we should carry on with our journey to this town coming on up ahead," Billy Bob said as he looked onwards as he could see the faint lines that was the town. "Sure, I need to get a place to sleep and eat, and then we can continue with my second half of training," Naruto said as he packed his things and followed his sensei to the oncoming town. Oh, 2 hours later in Konoha. "So you failed your simple arrest and maintain mission, huh?" Tsunade said as her forehead vein bulged out as she stood, hands resting on the table while she looked at them, shaking a little. The entire group stepped back one step, arms at chest height, while all of them held onto their hands ready for the infuriated Hokage to let it all out. "You failed in a C-rank mission while there were 12 of you," Tsunade began as she broke the desk she sat at with one of her fists. "We're sorry. He was an S-rank criminal. He used some jutsu to make rock-like creatures appear out from the ground. While we were distracted with the earth creatures, we had to deal with his earth missiles too. And not to mention the countless earth-like kunai thrown at us. It was way too much," Kiba complained as the rest seemed to nod in agreement. "S-rank, you say? Well, that is troublesome, as Shikamaru might put it," Tsunade said, grinning a little at Shikamaru. Hee, Shikamaru said, trying to lighten the situation. "Yeah, and there was this one guy that saved Hinata from being spiked and served on a silver platter," Sakura added, looking at Hinata and then back at Tsunade. The others seemed to nod and look at Tsunade, hoping for an answer. "Well, that is strange," Tsunade said, wondering why she was the one that always had to give an answer. At that moment Jiraiya jumped through the window. "I couldn't help but hear you guys got back from a mission," Jiraiya said as he jumped through the window, hands on his hips, smiling. "Yeah, they just came back, and remember to knock next time and come through the door next time too, Baka," Tsunade said as she approached the Sannin in front of her. Jiraiya held his hands up defensively to try and put as much distance between him and her. Hinata happened to notice the ring on his left index finger. "Hey Jiraiya-sensei, you know your ring you are wearing?" Hinata said as Tsunade stopped and looked at her in curiosity. "Yeah, what about it?" Jiraiya said, pleased that he would get to explain about how he had mastered sage training. Well, when I was being attacked by that crazy plumber man, a person in a black cloak wearing an orange swirly design mask jumped in front of me and did some amazing jutsu that made a wall of ice about as big as a house rise in front of me. Hinata said as she looked at Jiraiya for a second. Jiraiya's face turned from a scared of Tsunade face to a curious of what Hinata had to say face. Yes, continue, Jiraiya said a little anxious. Well, you see, the person had the same ring as you were wearing. Hinata said as she watched Jiraiya's face turn from curious to shocked and speechless. That's impossible. There is no one alive that is still a Toad Sage except me and… Jiraiya said as he fully understood what had happened. That was Naruto. Jiraiya said as he shouted it to Naruto's comrades, ha ha ha. He has mastered the Toad Sage and has great strengths. Jiraiya said proudly as he jogged on the spot, unable to maintain his excitement. What? That was Naruto. Come on, we need to go back to that town and find him. Sakura said as she headed for the door, only to be stopped by someone's hands on her shoulder. As she turned around, Jiraiya had calmed down now and had a serious look on his face. Remember, we need to let him live out his training. If we bring him back now, we won't ever know his full potential. Jiraiya said, trying to bring kindness into his words. It's not fair. Sakura said as she cried all her pain out into a shocked-looking Jiraiya's chest. Tsunade looked at him as if to say, if you touch her you will die. Jiraiya just nodded and sweat dropped as he comforted the crying pink-haired girl in front of him. Hinata too had ran out of the room, not wanting her friends to see her pain. Neji quickly followed her outside. Hinata, Nissan, hold up. Neji shouted as he finally caught up with the now brawling and weak form of his cousin laying on the floor on her hands and knees, crying into her knuckles. He could have come home. I could have brought him home. But I was too weak, Neji Nissan. I was too weak, Hinata said as she cried on her cousin's shoulders as he comforted her. Remember what he said? He will be back in 4 years. He didn't talk to us because it would have been too painful. He saved us, didn't he? That just proves that he still cares for us, and still cares for you. Neji said in a caring voice as he gently rocked Hinata as she stopped crying and took comfort in her Nissan's words. Thank you, Neji. You always know just what to say, Hinata said as she hugged her cousin back. Neji, still not used to being hugged and especially not being hugged by Hinata, stiffened his shoulders and arms for a second as he then finally embraced her back. You are most welcome, Hinata Nissan, Neji said as he lifted her from the floor and brought her back to the Hokage's room with all her friends comforting her and Sakura. Oh, back to Naruto and Billy Bob. Naruto and Billy Bob had entered the town and got jobs as litter pickers. Naruto didn't like the idea of being a litter picker, but he understood that he could just make one clone do a 24-hour litter picker duty. Both had rented out a room in a hotel with 2 separate beds. I still feel kinda uncomfortable with you in the same room as me. Want to see me get changed? Naruto asked, worrying that his teacher might be into that sort of stuff. For one, we will change in different rooms. You take bathroom, I take out here. Second, do I look like a pedo? Billy Bob said, slightly hurt that he could be seen that way. Well, okay, to the room changing things, and second, you seem to hide your appearance as well. I mean, 1 minute you're a hillbilly, the next you're a highbrow golem sage that trained in a different realm to me. Naruto said proudly that he had a decent comeback. Well, I am a good actor, he, and second, how did you know that I got taught in a different realm? Billy Bob said, uneased that this boy knew a lot about him. Well, I mentioned the Kyuubi, didn't I? Well, he knows almost everything, and he told me that you trained in Oblivion by the Grand Master Golem Sage. Naruto said, smirking, that he knew about his sensei's history and that he couldn't hide from him. Ha ha ha, damn that Kyuubi. Well, shall we get to training? Billy Bob said with enthusiasm and charisma. Yes, damn, I thought you'd never ask, Naruto said as he stood in a ready position near the door. That's the spirit, young pup, don't let the pain get you down. Endure it and the reward will taste all the sweater. Naruto nodded inwardly as he followed his sensei out of the door and out of the hotel. After a 2-minute jog, they were out of the sights and sounds of the town. Naruto put his blindfold on as he prepared to try and hit the boulders as they came from random locations. We're gonna start off slow so you get a chance to hit the boulder, okay? Billy Bob said, amused that he would get to hit boulders at Naruto blindfolded. Damn right, I'm ready, Naruto said as he clenched his fists, got into a ready position and waited for his senses to kick in. Naruto heard a boulder fly over, maybe to his left? But as he turned he got thwacked in the head before he could pull a punch. "You need to be faster than that boy," Billy Bob said, even though he was amazed the boy could hear it at all at this stage in training. "Hi sensei," Naruto exclaimed as he got back into his ready position. Both went at it again while Naruto tried and failed to react in time. His teacher would laugh that his pupil would get hit and wobble a little, losing his balance. Oh. Back in Konoha a week later. Hinata really has seemed to improve. Maybe we should put her through the Hyuga Randaha Furui Saijin Shurin, Hyuga Hidden Leaf Sage training, in translated Japanese English. Hiyashi said as he walked with his, still alive, brother Hisashi. "Do you really think she is ready? I mean, come on, she has only just come back from that mission that she and 12 others failed to capture, a simple plumber. And that Uzumaki kid apparently saved the 12. Hisashi said, a bit shocked as he continued to follow his brother through the Hyuga compounds. "I know about that and I have spoken to Hinata about it too. The plumber she fought was apparently someone of high stature because Naruto had called him sensei. And apparently that Naruto is a sage himself. So I am not worried that she was defeated by this S-rank criminal. And even in her defeat it means all the more that she should get this training. It will make her stronger and that is all she seems to want right now. That and a certain boy's approval. A.Q. Hinata's sister is still heir to the Hyuga household. It's just in this fan fic Hiyashi is nice for once. P. So when do you wish to put her through this immense training that technically allows her to be called a Hyuga sage? Even though it doesn't have an element, it still has sage-level jutsus and training." Hisashi said to his brother as his brother entered a room and sat down on a nice comfy pillow as he poured tea for the two. Yes, I would. I believe that she is ready for this training. She is strong-willed and I think that she and that Uzumaki kid will get along famously," Hiyashi said with a mischievous grin on his face as he continued to grin into his teacup as he drank the contents. "What are you planning, brother?" Hisashi said as he looked at his brother with a suspicious look. He knew his brother was up to something between Naruto and Hinata. "All will be explained in due time, brother, but for now we shall just sit and watch the fireworks, shall we?" Hiyashi said as he grinned even more, which was rare to see on an adult Hyuga's face. Even most of the children try not to show emotion. Oh. Meanwhile at the new unnamed town, Naruto had started hitting the stones that came at him. He was getting a lot better with his senses and didn't need to rely on sight for much longer. Billy Bob as usual was amazed at the progress he had made over the past week that would take an ordinary human months. "So Naruto, don't want to stop yet? Your hands are bleeding a lot and most of the skin has come off. Do you want me to heal you now?" Billy Bob said as he stopped shooting the boulders at his student and started to approach him. "Yeah, if you don't mind. I don't think my hands can take much more of this," Naruto said as he winced at the pain of unclenching his fists. "Don't worry, Naruto, I know this is painful and hard, but most people would have collapsed from exhaustion by now. You're taking great strides in your progress, you should be proud of yourself," Billy Bob said as he looked at his student with great pride. Thanks sensei," Naruto said as he stood, hands healed, skin repaired and rejuvenated. "I am ready again, sensei," Naruto said as he stood ready for his teacher's boulders. "Then we shall begin," Billy Bob said as he continued to throw boulders at Naruto and watch his student instantly turn and destroy the giant boulder with his fist. Naruto put on a small smirk as he continued to train hard to protect his village and utmost his friends. 1 week later in Konoha. As you all know, the Chunin exams are coming up and we have selected all of you to join this time. Team 7 will have to do this with Sai. I know there may be objections, but to be quite frank, you can't enter without him," Tsunade said as she was surrounded by 9 genin. "I know Shikamaru is already a Chunin and that his team will suffer for it. We are trying to find one more genin for this exam that they may have known back in the academy," Tsunade continued as she looked at the angered yet trying to chill out faces of Team 7. Sai excluded. "Okay, I guess, but if this guy gets on my nerves I will kill him out there, in the forest of death. Anything counts, right? That includes Team Kill," Sasuke said, getting angrier as he looked over to see Sai putting on a fake smile while he looked at him. "Then you will be disqualified because a member of your team will be lost," Tsunade said, trying her hardest to protect Sai. "Like I give a crap, there's always next year," Sasuke said, still glaring at Sai as Sai continued to smile at him. "Are you sizing me up?" Sai said, amused slightly but not showing it. Sasuke went over to him ready to take swing at him, but Sakura grabbed him suddenly. Don't react to this Anbu root trash. He isn't worth the trouble of clearing up. Sakura said while she too glared at Sai, who still smiled but redirecting his attention to Sakura. I see, so the ugly ones stick up for the uglier ones Interesting, Sai said as he looked as if he hadn't done anything at all wrong. Sakura was fuming and had to be held back by Hinata, Kiba and Choji. Remember what you just said to Sasuke, do not react to this, it will be what he wants. Choji said as he found it difficult to keep this woman in her place. Man, this girl is strong, he thought to himself as his sweat dropped. Finally she gave up and turning the other way, pouting. Anyway, as I was saying, you are all being entered for the Chunin exams next week. I expect you to train and rest well because as you all know it will be very hard. Enjoy the week. She said as she looked amused with herself. The 9 Konoha ninja walked out of the room and out of the building before they all retired to their respected destinations to train, relax and study. Oh. Meanwhile, Naruto's training. The man stood in awe as the final half of Earth element slid into Naruto's chakra. Naruto stood there as he felt the giant wave of energy rush through him. His chakra was almost 500 times greater than when he had set off 6 months ago. His chakra now had 3 elements in it and only one he had mastered the jutsus. Well Naruto, it seems you have completed the second half, well done my boy. The golem sage said as he patted his student on the back. Thank you sensei, for everything you have shown and done for me. Naruto said as he held his head up high knowing he had succeeded in getting stronger today. You are most welcome my boy, now before you think your training is over? I still have to teach you the jutsus that come with it, without those there wasn't much reason in training to be a golem sage now was there ha ha ha. The golem sage redneck hillbilly inbred teacher said as he laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, well yes I would like to learn the earth jutsus and become a master golem sage. Naruto said while he laughed. Naruto spent an entire week as he learned new jutsus such as Earth Redemption no Jutsu, the same jutsu Billy Bob had used to make golems, rock shell body jutsu. The same Billy Bob used to protect himself against Naruto's Rasengan, Great Stone Wall jutsu. That allows the user to summon a giant wall to protect themselves, or turn it into a ball to protect from all sides. Earth Missile jutsu, the same he had used on Hinata. Earth Kunai no Jutsu, allowing the user to mold kunai out of earth easily and swing them at your opponent without even physically touching the kunai. And last but not least, Earth Cripple no Jutsu, allowing the user to charge his chakra into the earth manipulating its shape and form to create spikes to jump up and impale your opponents. Thank you so much for your training sensei. Naruto said as he shook the man's hand that he had called sensei for around 5 to 6 weeks. The man not the hand. Not a problem at all, it was a privilege to train you young Naruto. Please accept this gift as to prove that you are a master golem sage. Billy Bob said as he handed out an identical metal ring that Naruto wore except this had a green background and an earth symbol in the middle just like his toad sage ring had a wave pattern in the middle. Thank you sensei, I won't forget you or what you have taught me, in 3.5 years time you feel like you need a home just come to Konoha. Naruto said with pride as he put the earth ring on the opposite hand to the toad sage ring on the exact same finger as his opposite hand's toad sage ring finger to symbolize opposites he thought. Thank you, I would very much like to visit you when the day comes, but as for now I have to be on the run from the ninjas, Billy Bob said as he turned around to walk back to the town waving his hand behind him when he walked. Remember to be good young Naruto, he continued as he walked towards the town. At that Naruto turned and left in the opposite direction to the way his teacher had walked. Well it has been a long time. I haven't seen you in weeks, are we done with this training yet? The fox said as he yawned and stretched. Yeah we're done with the whole golem sage training look I have this cool new ring and everything. Naruto said excitedly. Well done young pup, I can tell you don't know where to go so I will tell you. Go towards Konoha but do not worry. We aren't going there. There is a small town outside which has an affordable hotel room and will give you privacy to practice the demon sage training in peace. Okay fox, on the way we go. A new adventure and new training for me too. Naruto said getting too excited as he ran full force which at this time is very fast towards the oncoming town. I'm not naming the towns if you notice because I won't use them again. Naruto set off into the distance towards Konoha and his new town that he was going to stay at for a few weeks. Maybe a month. The fox seemed to be pumped for the training too. Guess we will have to see what happens next. That's all for now. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments.